Example 8 shows where we're going to have to do some matrix multiplication. And here we need to find a product of AB, where A is a 3 by 3 matrix, and B is also a 3 by 3 matrix. So since we're taking AB, and we're going to go 3 by 3 times another 3 by 3, then if you take your first and or these two had to be the same, always. So then if you take your last two, or your first and your last term, that means your result is going to be a 3 by 3 matrix. So this is where it gets a little confusing, and I think this hopefully will help out a little bit. What we're going to do is you're going to have to multiply each row of A times each column of A times each row of B. So what we're going to do is, let's write out here our first matrix. We're going to have a lot of work to do here. Let's make sure you leave some space. So if I'm going to put A in blue, and then let's do B in, we can do B in, let's do B in red here. B will be in red. So all my elements from A will be in blue, and all my elements in B will be in red. So we're going to take our first column of A, and we're going to multiply for 0, 0, and we're going to multiply it by each element in your first row. So we're going to take that times 1/4. We have to multiply your 0 by a 1/4, and this 0 by a 1/4. And then what we have to do is we have to add that to the other elements from your, as we go across here. So we're going to take our second column from A, and we're going to end up multiply that by your second element in B. So we're going to multiply all these by 0. And then we're also going to have to take our third column in A, and we're going to have to multiply those by your third element in B. So if you simplify all of these, what you'd get, 4 times 1/4 is a 1, plus 0 just gives us a 1 up top. On the middle row, 0 plus 0 plus 0 gives us a 0. 0 plus 0 plus 0 gives us a 0. So that is when we take our first column times our elements of our first row, and our second column and our third column times those elements. So let's go ahead and do our, next what we have to do is our, this row times all of your elements in your, this column times all of your elements in your second row for B. So we're going to say 4, whoops, that's the wrong color. We're going to say 4, 0, 0, parentheses, and then we're just going to have to multiply by this row right here. So we're going to say 0, -1/9, 0, and then we're going to have to add this, and notice that we're going to repeat what we did in our first part of our problem. So we're going to have 0, -9, 0. These are going to have to be multiplied by, oh, I goofed up here. This shouldn't be a -1/9. This should be a 0 here. There we go. So we want to multiply this column by this element. So then this second column we're going to multiply by your second element here. So we're going to do -1/9, -1/9, -1/9, and then we're going to have to add. We have to do all of these, which that should have been a 5. Boy, I'm goofing up quite nice here. So it should be this column. So we're going to have 0, 0, 5, and those are all going to be multiplied by your 0 here. So when we add all these together on top, once again, these are just all zeros. In the middle, -9 times a 1/9 is a 1, and you have two other zeros you add together, and in the bottom you have a 0. So your second column of your result is 0, 1, 0. Now finally, let's do our fourth one. So all your blue numbers are the same, 4, 0, 0. And what we have to do is we have to multiply by our last row. So we're going to multiply all these by a 0. Maybe. My pen's run out of ink again. Plus, we have 0, negative 9, plus 0. And all these are zeros. And then finally, we have our 0, 0, 5. And these all need to be multiplied by the 1/2. So what you're going to really need to make sure you do is you are checking for patterns. Patterns. So then down here, what we get is, we add all these together, we get a 0, we get a 0, and a 5/2. So your final 3 by 3 matrix